Perhaps you hear the difference more on those monitor speakers. Like I said, they are really, everything sounds good, and it's very much engineered that it keeps a certain style and sound and so on. And the monitors are tell you more the truth than those things. There are also different types of compression. We take a quite recent track. Now that the right track is way louder than the other one, so I kept an eye on. I was with it in the mastering process that's taken from the Fiedel 2, and I don't like those really compressed sounds. It can be useful during the night to achieve a certain kind of intensity, but for the general thing, generally spoken, it's I like to have more dynamics. Yeah? That's also a thing that now with the digital, lots of digital music, nobody keeps an eye on. Then it's always like a brick wall of sound coming onto you, and the other thing is kind of more dynamic and it's more groovy. That's what you lose when you kind of too much limit your tracks. I recently experienced that a track of mine was mastered and I said, no, it doesn't sound good because it was too dense and it lost its funkiness. Yeah? Kind of. Sounds more lightweight, more moving than the other thing. And there's also a thing with all those streaming platforms. They will reduce the levels to a certain level when they have a highly compressed track to maintain certain LUFS level, which is, I don't know, set at 12 or something like that. And the mastering studio I'm working with, they have also an eye on that, because if it's 12, it's alright. They play the music like this supposed to be. And if it's heavily compressed, then they will turn down the level automatically. So then the music is louder. But yeah, to maintain that energy level, that means literally the energy level. And yeah, I find it way nicer to have a more moving sound instead of this big wall sound that just feels like pressure all the time on the dance floor. Like I said, of course, it can be part of the night to make it more dense. and make it more intense than this one. Yeah, but it's up to you. So just a few examples for the production. Also, when making records, keep an eye on the good mastering and yeah, space for the music. So I guess that would be it. Do you have questions for any? Yeah.
Have you ever taken decisions on the PA? Because you talked about monitoring and setting the booth, but in a warehouse body, when you have like different architecture and different sounds and difficult acoustics, how can you arrange like the PA so that it can sound good and you have proper like headroom in the
yeah. And that would be a matter of experience.
Okay.
You can take a function one sound system. It's quite good. You can set it up as 2 stacks in the front, and it can sound good in the warehouse. You can also do like a 4-stack setup. Then the sound is more just outlined on the dance floor. But then also if you have 4 stacks, a lot of sound is eliminated on the dance floor, because when the waves hit each other, and then there's a one up, one down, then it's eliminated. So that's a matter of experience, how good you can manage such a thing. The warehouse is really complicated. So.
And the other question was, have you ever taken decisions about the visuals, or like you don't care about visuals when you're...
I care about visuals. It's an important part, and it's something that is really underestimated, I would say, because the so to say the clubbing experience, that's all together. So you have the sound, you have the people, and you also have the visuals. I sometimes when I play Berghain, sometimes there are some light guys that really like my music and are really into it, and after an hour or so I can see it already, that the light changes with the music, and that brings a lot towards the mood of the audience, and they can push it really up. If the light is just boring with an automatic setup, then it doesn't bring anything good to it. So that's about the lights. Visuals, I don't know, yeah, if they're there, it's okay. If they're not there, it's also okay. For web treatment, for instance, we just have 2 lights on the sound system. They don't move, they don't change color, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how downgraded is everything, just about the music then. And even the people, they dance towards the sound system. So what I know, wax treatment was the only party where people don't look at the DJ. So it doesn't matter who's playing in the back. It matters what comes out of the speaker. That should be the thing. Nowadays, all the people cheer up the DJ in the front, and yeah, don't focus on the music. Yeah. More questions? Yes.
I have one. It's a simple question, really, but it's about the phase, the wave phase. What do you recommend about the wave phase with the waves in your songs, in your mixes? For use, you change the phase about in the room, or who you recommend about
the waves? When talking about a sound system in a warehouse, you mean?
No, not in a warehouse. In whatever place.
For production, you mean?
Yeah, in the production for mix your DJ set or whatever. Who you make the phase with the tracks? For sometimes you can the loudness part for the tracks is too much, and the phase, the wave phase is maybe some break
I don't even have instruments that measure the phase and so on. I just give it a listen. If it works, it works. And then you can, in the Ableton Live, for instance, you can apply track delays if it's not in the right spot. And I try to manage it like that. So I'm not a guy who measures everything, just more the feeling that comes out of it. If it's good, it's good. Then the phase should be all right, kind of. Then in the mastering process, I also can tell you, all right, if it's too much stereo or something, then especially for cutting vinyl, it's important then that you cannot, the needle cannot go here and there at the same time, of course. Yeah? Then you have to keep an eye on it, but you also can do it in the mastering to make it more, to make it smaller. You can switch the bass to mono, for instance, and put it into your mix. That would be a solution. On the Killer Sound, for instance, we have the bass section is completely mono, and it doesn't matter because it just comes out like this. And if you try it out in the production to make the bass or bass drum just more mono, and apply some effects also, then we'll have a result. And if you like the result, it's okay. If not, then try something else. Yeah? It's a lot of try and error things. There's no recipe that's like this, like that. I know there are so many online courses right now teaching you how to do music, but in the end, it's like you need to like the music. You need to you want to send out a feeling with your track somehow. And if you can achieve that, that's the thing. Then you don't need to know exactly how to do this and that. Just a general knowledge about it, it's okay, but everything else is up to you. That's why every song is so different, every artist is different, and I guess we need that diversity.
Mastering or?
So I use Ableton Live and mostly everything in the box because I don't have much space, and I carry my production studio around many times a week. So it depends on what you can do inside the box with the plug-in synthesizers and so on. It doesn't necessarily sound like any other production that you use. So all my tracks are different. I don't have a certain setup, for instance, that says, all right, bass drum and the rhythmic pattern and so on, and the synthesizers. I have an idea, I make a sketch, and then I produce the track. And in the end, I should like it. And so you also can hear it in my productions that every track is different. And then for mastering, you can do a lot of stuff in the mastering studio. And for me, I'm in a lucky situation that I used to work at Updates and Mastering, so it's kind of easy for me to get an appointment where I can be with the engineer in the mastering process, and I can also decide how it should sound like. And that's really important, and you learn a lot with that. Nowadays, I'm not really convinced that it really works quite well. The tracks, the pre-masters are sent out into a mastering studio, then they got mastered, and then someone will cut the lacquer, and you don't have any influence over this production process. I was talking about yesterday in Buenos Aires about pressing records in Argentina. I said, no, there's no money that can pay me that production process that I can maintain. That's the most important thing, I guess. Like you, when I get the question right, to finalize the stuff in the end,
yeah.
to make it nicer, more punchy or whatever. So that's my way of doing it, because it's of course it's not possible for everybody to do that. I have no solution for that. Try to make it as good as you can, and if you're not satisfied with the mastering, just listen to it and listen to it if it's right or not. Like I said, the mastering I received from a track that will be released in April, I guess. I said no, it totally loses its funkiness, yeah? And I want to maintain that, and I said, oh, let's do it again, because it's not the way the track was intended. And sometimes it's like this, the mastering engineer thinks like, all right, pressure, level, that's it. Yeah? But it's not about the music. That's my experience at Douglas Mastering, for instance. They try to listen to the music and try to add something. That's also part of the art and part of the music, that if you work together with somebody like that, they can add something to it. That's really nice. Yeah. More questions? Was it useful for you? Yeah. To hear it, yeah. Please.
So I have one question. Somebody told me about the analog mixer like Sun 92 when after 6-8 hours it start to be more warm or hot, it start to sound more louder. So somebody told me you have to be careful with the dB or something like that. Is true or fake?
No, it's true. It's true. Like I said before, with the distortion, we have a lot of electrons going through there. If you play a long night, then a lot of electrons go there, and everything heats up. And the more heat you have, the higher the resistance will get. And yeah, it's kind of a heat overload or resistance overload, and then it gets louder. But so to say, the element heat is the only mixer that manages 36 hours at Bergheim. Yeah, they had a nice mixer in the beginning, the formula sound. I don't know the model number anymore, 4 point something. And then last year there was the 6 point something. We also tried it out. It was really nice, and it was really nice for vinyl. I don't like the 92 for vinyl because the phono input is so weak and so muddy. Yeah, compared to the digital input. And I must say, I really hate the 96. I played 2 times now at Bergheim, no, 3 times at Bergheim, 2 times vinyl only, and it sucks completely. So that's my opinion. They tried to make it a bit louder, and they did, but now it distorts in the mids and highs, and I don't know why they did it. So yeah. And compared to the formula sound, which is customized with the sound system. So the first mixer they had at Bergheim was a customized formula sound for this special sound system. And in my opinion, you had the best control over this sound system with that mixer. But in the end, as the nights grew longer, in the beginning I can remember, so 2005, it was like 12, 1, 2 in the afternoon. That was maximum for Bergheim. So now it's 1 day more. And the formula sound has only analog stuff in it, and they overheat way more than the digital mixers. Yeah? So they couldn't use the formula sound anymore. They tried to find solution with a new model, but still it didn't work out. So it was way too much. I guess they're made for, let's say, 8 to 12 hours of working time, and not 36 hours. But it is for real. It is like that.
It's not really a question, but it's possible that you mix a couple of records for us. It would be very, very, very interesting to see you like in this very intimate space.
How much time do we have still? Yes, doesn't matter. Yeah. So maybe I mix. This record is intended to be a double mix pack EP, so you can mix with that. I can do a mix with those 2 records. Yeah. Are there some more questions? Yeah. No. Yes. Please.
Here in South America, it's very difficult to find vinyl record stores.
Yeah.
We already don't have proper vinyl record stores. So to find vinyls here, we have to bring them from Europe or the US. But there's a way of thinking that says that DJs who collect music in physical are superior than DJs who collect music in digital. I'm a DJ who collect all my music in digital, and my vinyls are just a few jewels for me. But what do you think of that way of thinking?
For a DJ that plays so long, I have a quite small vinyl collection. I have maybe 5,000 records. That is not much. If you think about, I'm collecting records since 25 years already. Yeah. So I'm really picky in what I buy. So back then, when I moved to Berlin, I didn't have any money. So I said, all right, I got back then 50 Deutschmarks. That would be 3 records a week. Yeah, so 50 Deutschmarks a week, 200 Deutschmarks a month to play records. Then I went to Hardwax 2 or 3 times a week, and then I was picking certain records out. And I'm really happy about that, because then now I know there are not many records I don't want to listen to anymore. So it's all, like you said, jewels. Yeah. And of course I played a lot of records back then, and now I switched more to digital. I still buy records, but still the music has to be kind of interesting. And I guess it's you can collect more music, more interesting music when you collect it digitally than on vinyl. Yeah, because it's the financial effort to release a vinyl is so high. Yeah, so you can, nobody makes money with releasing records. It's just a business card, just to show that you are there. Yeah? It doesn't make sense to do records. It's just to have something in the hands to play with. Yeah. Yeah, but everybody should see how you can get to music. The most important thing is, it doesn't matter if you play vinyl or digital or hybrid stuff or from the computer or what, it's what you are doing and that you can communicate with the crowd. That what comes out is something that you put in, yeah, from your heart. And as long as you do that, it doesn't matter how the sounds are, just all the things I'm talking about, that don't matter if you play just like, I need to play music like this. Yeah? It's my job, I play music. So sometimes I have the feeling that it is like that, especially when DJs play 3-4 times a weekend. It's really exhausting, and I can imagine myself, I did that myself already, but then after the 3rd time you don't have any humor to put in. You are so tired. Then you act like a machine, like a DJ. Did that answer your question a little bit or not?
I was talking more about the way of thinking that says that vinyl DJs are superior than digital DJs. What do you think of that?
Vinyl DJs are superior. No, to be a vinyl DJ, you have to gain more skills, of course. To maintain 2 turntables takes more than to sync to CDJs. Yeah, I don't know how it works. To be honest, I don't know how it works to sync to 2 CDJs. I use the CDJs as digital file players, and I do everything by hand, by ear, not by looking at the BPMs. They're not right. Sometimes I played in Chile. I played a Robert Hood track. It said to me 165, but the tempo was around 132 or something. So it wasn't right. And another track said, it was an electro track. It said 104. So you don't. I rely on my ear. But that's maybe the thing, because I learned to put every information in, and at the end, if it doesn't work. So I did it once a few years ago. I said, no, I don't use record books at all. You will hear tomorrow if it makes sense or not. So don't. And I had so many problems with record books, the new record box version and the old version, and now you need to have an account and stuff like that. That's way too much stuff besides the music. I want to have the music. It's already enough to go through Beatport or through Hardwax, to listen to it, to download it, to rename it sometimes, for Beatport especially, because it doesn't say who did that track. They have the release number and the track title. And yeah, I have my own system. I created my own system to find the tracks. And so everybody needs to think about how it's best. There was an interview with Evelyn Emerson, I guess. She has some. She puts in moods of the tracks, and she kind of works with that. So everybody has its own scheme how to work with it. And for me, it's all right. It's music here and there, and then I also use like this folder. I play this track from when I bought music new. I don't put it in those other folders. Then it says new and the date. then I know, oh, that's new tracks I like to play. And then sometimes it's only the news folder that I'm working with, but I know all the other folders, the tracks I have in. So yeah, that makes me really fast to find the tracks, and yeah, that's what I need for playing also with 40 CDJs tomorrow, because I like to plan ahead. That's the reason for me. Not to layer so much the music, but yeah, to move ahead with parts of the music, to make transition and to be able to just press play when I ended the last transition, for instance. Yeah. So the way of I used to mix also with 3 turntables, and that's the same. You can plan steps ahead, you can mix, you can double 2 records, and you can have the next record already prepared. And if they both run out because you mixed with them a lot, then you have the next record already ready to play and mix in. So that's the thing, to keep up and keep the flow going. Yeah. More questions? No. Okay. And that's fine with it. So I won't play vinyl tomorrow?
Yes.
No, I don't play vinyl tomorrow. No, because also with traveling, it's way easier if you want to have vinyl with you. It's not so happy. No, it's not so obvious that you are a DJ. So, let's see. Thank you.